I don't think there is a grip that is universally good for every person. I think grip is a living document. I don't think we'll ever arrive. I think that we're constantly trying to find ways to make the gun behave the way we want it to, easier and easier and easier and more consistently over time. Grip on a pistol, right? It's a super interesting conversation and it gets very polarizing where this is the right way, that is the right way, that kind of thing. Everybody's gonna be a little bit different. We all got different strengths, different weaknesses, different injuries, different pistols. There's so much different stuff going on that I think it's pretty foolish to say that you should do this way or you're wrong. I think that a better approach to this, when we're talking about making connection to the gun, we have to go down the rabbit hole of why do we even care? Why does it matter that I have good connection to the pistol? I think you have to understand what you're trying to do to be able to value that. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to facilitate basically three things. Number one is gonna be, I want the sighting system, whether it's dot, iron sights, whatever, when I fire the gun, it would be pretty cool if those sights came back exactly to where they just left from. Because if they do that, then I can fire theoretically at the cyclic rate of the pistol's ability to return. Anything other than that, we have to start having corrected sight pictures, so the gun will lift, it comes back, but it comes back too far. I have to take a reduction in point value and accept that sight picture, or I have to take the downtime to actually fix it. So what I want to do is facilitate a structure with my hands that does that as easy as I can figure out. So there's a lot of different ways to accomplish that will work. There is one way that you will assess is the easiest way. I can't tell you what that is. It's gonna be self-exploration kind of thing. The second thing that I value is a consistent and reliable recoil pattern. So whatever the gun is doing in recoil, I want it to do the same thing every time. And the reason I think that's important is as long as the brain is observing a process happening that it expected. The conscious mind kind of stays asleep. We're able to hold visual focus to the area we want to put bullets. But once anything unexpected happens, my gun was doing this and all of a sudden it went over here, the vision will open up, the conscious mind will wake up, and what people do, and I think they do it subconsciously, they start to try to make the gun behave. Making a gun go somewhere is typically a futile errand. I want to create structure and consistency that facilitates the gun going where I want it to, not necessarily my willpower or effort trying to do it. So consistency and behavior is the second thing. And then the last one is do you know how you did that and can you do it again? And can you maintain it through a string of fire that is as aggressive as you anticipate ever firing? So there's a lot of crap that we can get away with that, can I say crap? Is crap okay?
No, but we'll bleep it out.
There's a lot of poop that we do that I think works in certain environments, right? So if there is no shot timer, there is no haste of application, and there is no consequence for losing, you can basically shoot however you want. But when we start to look at aggressive strings of fire, what we find is that if a person gets a really good gun behavior and then we separate their hands, it's very difficult for a lot of people to know how they did that and how to get back in there and make that happen again. The next thing, which I think is probably the biggest problem people struggle with, is maintaining that structure through an aggressive string of fire. So you can just shoot a bill drill, 5-7 yards, something like that, and we'll see 1, 2, 3, and then it'll start to walk up, right? So a lot of times people have those shot strings trend up on the target. What happens during that is your brain says, all right, draw pistol, grip pistol, shoot pistol, and then as you're shooting, your brain starts to observe what's happening. The grip tension is not a subconscious process because you haven't repped it enough, right? And so you just kind of let go and the gun starts to separate and we violate the durability clause. The vast majority of issues in your shooting is going to be that the gun went somewhere on its return that you didn't want it to and you ignited the primer anyway. That's typically where I get most of my failures from. I think when you're thinking about structure on the gun, man, there are a plethora of options. I don't grip a SIG 365 the same way that I grip a Glock 17 or 47, right? So hand placement is only there to help officiate the pressures that I'm trying to get on the gun. If we just start with just the firing hand, as I come out of the holster, that's where this grip begins. The finger is straightened down the side until the gun gets horizontal to the deck or away from my body, and the thumb remains flagged high for two reasons. Number one, that's how I like to shoot strong hand only if I had to, straight out of the holster. Number two is this guy's coming to the party and I need somewhere to put him. That brings me to the next thing, surface area of the pistol. I think a lot of people have guns that are too freaking tiny, man. The more surface area I can access, the easier I can put my will on the pistol without trying as hard. What I tell dudes to do, man, is to explore 4 main grip pressures. I've had high-level shooters explain to me these 4 different methods. So the first one is just gonna be circumferential 360-degree crushing of the gun. I think you should try that out, see what you think about it. The next way that I would look at is thinking about an upside-down horseshoe and grabbing each leg of that horseshoe and kind of prying it flat. So I'm thinking about tension coming from the forearms. It's not a deltoid exercise. I feel like those bottom bones flaring out is a good cue, and I'm trying to drive pressure up into the gun where the reciprocating mass is. And then also by default, when I'm doing that, these bottom fingers try to splay apart and they create a lot of torque down here, which I think is a good place to put some. Next one's gonna be popping the walnut. So a lot of people, again, they're crushing and gripping their own hand. They're not gripping the pistol, so there's a lot of air in between their palms. If there was a walnut in between your palms, I want you to smash it, right? So to do this, you're gonna have to move this support hand. I slide it ever so slightly back and I put a bunch of pressure into the back of the gun and I feel these fingers kind of clamshell around. And then finally is going to be push pull. So back in the day, right, the old Weaver kind of vibe, we're push pulling, that kind of thing. And a lot of people clown it, man, and a lot of people say, oh, push pull's dumb. Eric Graffel, multi world champion, that's how he will tell you he shoots a pistol, so go tell him he's wrong. What I'm doing is a combination of a couple of these. I don't think of it as a push pull necessarily. What I think of it as is this hand is a wall that's immovable, and I'm gonna take the pistol and I'm gonna push it into that wall. It's not the one thing, right? It's the tide of a multitude of things that's gonna end up being your way. Those 4 ways are not all of the ways. There's tons of other different ways too, right? So how do I explore this stuff, right? I think that we should start out with what we said was the main mission with this. Just trying to make the gun return to what it's looking at, right? So I think for this, we just need kind of 1 round. I'm gonna fire a single shot and I'm going to assess where that gun goes. Now, I'm being very critical of how this gun returns. It either comes back to the center of that black spot or it doesn't. That is the assessment. From there, we'll talk about how to work the consistency of the behavior piece of it. So that landed just barely high of the tape, like at the top of the little black spot. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And so I'm working out pretty good with that. Things that we're looking for, things that we don't want to do. A lot of times dudes struggle with this right here, and then they'll bring it back up. And then they'll bring it back up, right? And then another guy that's trying to like sandbag a little bit or game this a little bit, he'll do something that looks like this. And then he's like, perfect. But the problem with that is it doesn't accurately represent how you would like to shoot. So what we would like is for the gun to lift and we aggressively desire that gun back to that spot as quickly as possible, but not too much. Once you can accomplish that, I think adding in a second shot, maybe a third, to just assess the pattern of the gun's recoil, recognizing that if the behavior of the gun is inconsistent, it is you that is doing it, right? It's pressures that are changing in your hands or vision that's changing, right? So I typically try to like tell dudes, I think that you should shoot this at a pace that you can absolutely see everything. You're certainly aiming both of these shots, right, in conscious control. Something that we classically would know is like a controlled pair. So it looks something like this. Right, and I'm just assessing where is the gun going and is it doing the same thing every time. Once I've got that accomplished, I think that we need to pressure test what we think we like. And the way that we do that, I always tell folks, man, 3 to 6 rounds I think is enough, right? But I think you need to shoot them with like maximum aggression in your heart. I want you to shoot the gun as fast as you wish you could shoot it. So accuracy is not gonna be on the table for this. I'm not interested in where the bullets go. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna feel what I feel in my hands before I start shooting. I'm gonna fire those 3 to 6 shots as aggressively as possible. And then I'm gonna stop and freeze after that's over with and assess what do I feel in my hands. Does it feel the same at the end as it did at the beginning? Or would you fix your hands if you were gonna do it again? So a lot of times dudes will go bang, 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 and then one of those. So if you're doing that, you're letting go as the gun is firing, right? So 3 to 6 rounds at speed, right? What do I feel? Feels pretty good, feels the same. That feels pretty good, I like that. This is how I like to hold a pistol. From there, we'll work doubles, we'll work bill drills, we'll work things that pressure test that grip and that connection to the gun. And we'll start to add a layer to it, which is the distance that creates the reduced forgiveness zone of the return. So anyway, that's how I would explore grip, and those are the pressures that I typically tell guys, just try some stuff out, man, see what works out for you. Other than that, that's what I got. Okay, so, you ready for your lesson? You ready? All right, so.
Can you speak in my language?
I don't know what the hell your language is.